One of my most asked questions is, how can I paraphrase text that I've read without being detected and without plagiarizing? And this is one of the most asked questions, and it's actually a very difficult thing to do if you're doing it manually. But using some AI tools that I'm going to be discussing today, you can actually do it in an ethical way and maintains your original discussion, but allows you to do it in a bit more of an automated way. But I wanted to make sure that I caveat this video by saying that it's important to use AI tools responsibly and ethically, never to copy and paste, never to just take work that it has generated for you and to use it within your assignments, but rather to use it as a tool that can support your writing, enhance it in some way, and help you with outlines and generating kind of summaries. As a rule of thumb, if you feel like what you're doing is wrong, then it probably is, so just stick with that. So if you want to see more videos like this on my channel, then don't forget to press the subscribe button to see more from me. So let's get started. The first thing you want to think about is when you're paraphrasing text, you need to actually understand the source materials. So paraphrasing essentially means when you're taking text or something that you've read and you're wanting to write it in your own words. So you want to maintain the ideas, you want to maintain the understanding of what has originally been said, but you want to write it in your own words that shows how you've understood it. So when you're doing this, to be able to do this in the best way possible, you need to have actually read and understood the source material. So that's where we're first going to start off with. Read your research papers, read the text, read the books, and then you can get to the next point. And when you're reading, you want to be actively taking notes. So writing out the key ideas, writing down key words, writing down key phrases, as these are going to form the text that you are then going to write when you're paraphrasing. The next thing you want to do is select a reliable AI-powered tool. And for this, I am going to be using Jenni.ai. And as you guys know, I've introduced you guys to Jenni.ai many times on this platform before because I actually really love it. And I think its capabilities and its features are amazing if you are a student. So let me show you how you can use Jenni to paraphrase. Okay, so you've done some reading and you want to try to paraphrase. So the best way you can do this using Jenni.ai is to highlight and use the AI command. Now you can highlight however much you want. In this case, the highlighter that I've just showed you now is the part that I want to change, but I'm going to start by just highlighting a smaller part of it where I want to paraphrase. And you can choose on what style of paraphrasing you want. In my case, I'm going to go with academic. And you can see that it's thinking, it's writing, and it's kind of gaining this information from research papers. So it's true, reliable information that you can also add references for afterwards. Here you can see that it really has expanded it quite a lot, so it's matching the academic tone. You can make it shorter or longer if you want, and then simply replace this section. So the idea, the content is exactly the same, but it's not copied and pasted. Now that you've generated the paraphrased text of what you have written, you want to make sure that you are doing a proofread and edit and kind of a second look over it. And it's at this stage where you're able to write it out again for a second time, so you're not just taking that first initial paraphrased text and you're going with that, but rather you're thinking, does this text actually describe and show my ideas and what I've read to the best of its ability? And you can kind of re-edit that. And this is where you have the power to make sure that you're not being detected by any like Turnitin, any plagiarism softwares, because you've changed it so many times that it really is so far from the original text. It's important to remember that AI-powered tools are not perfect, and you need to always make sure you give it that humanized aspect to make it sound human, to make it sound like it's you who's written it, and also to consider the rest of your text. So if you're just paraphrasing one little paragraph in your whole essay, then make sure that it flows and it actually sounds like it's you who has written it. So Jenni can help you with proofreading and editing as well, and this is how. Now, the second tool is the proofreading and editing tool. So make sure that you set your settings to the style of English that you want. In my case, it's British English, so that's why a lot of these spellings are incorrect. And so it's automatically changing all those spellings for me, checking the grammar, making sure that there aren't like any spaces in between my letter and my punctuation, and just clearing everything up. And this is really helping you to know where you're going wrong, and in the future it's not just automatically changing it for you, but you're actually able to see what those issues are and accept or dismiss it if needed. So when you're doing this sort of second edit of the paraphrase text, you want to ensure that you are changing some of the keywords that doesn't change the meaning. So keywords that are not maybe subject specific, where it's of course more than important to keep that there. But you can change some synonyms and reword it slightly so you're kind of detracting as much as possible from that first original text. Some of the ways that you can make it sound a bit more natural is to change the structure. So maybe if they've introduced one idea first, you can introduce that one second, if that makes sense with the flow. You can also rewrite certain sentences completely to make it sort of sound different. And Jenni.ai has a really cool capability that allows you to shorten and expand text. So whilst you're writing what you've read from that original source material, you probably are just kind of blurting things out. You're not really writing it in the most cohesive and coherent way, and you have probably written a little bit more than what you require. So by using Jenni.ai, you're able to shorten it. And again, this really changes it quite a bit. So by this point, you've done 3 or 4 edits to this text and it is completely different from where it started. One of the most underrated tools when it comes to paraphrasing is expanding or shortening your text. And in this case, what I'm doing is I'm making it shorter. So yes, it has already been worked on, it has already been paraphrased, but actually I feel like it's quite repetitive in this part here, and I want to shorten it even more and really just get the bones out of it. So this does it really well. Again, check your spelling, make sure that it's edited correctly, give it that human check over to ensure that it sounds right, and just take a quick read of it. I feel like that last section there was a little bit sparse, and so I'm expanding this part here. Remember, we're not copying and pasting, we're using it as an outline, we're using it to generate ideas, and then you of course need to go and find research papers and research and kind of read into the subject a lot more to understand where these points have come from. This is a lot of text, and if you don't know what it's saying, then it's obviously not your genuine work. So you have to make sure that you know where this information has come from and be able to cite it as well. The next thing you want to do once you're happy with your paraphrased section is you want to check for plagiarism. Of course, by now, if you've done all the things I mentioned, then you definitely probably won't fall into it. But just to be 100% sure, you want to make sure you check for plagiarism. And Jenni.ai have a plagiarism checker tool embedded within their platform. So what this does is it just makes sure that your written text is as far as possible in terms of similarity to the original text. Let's say you're still worried that your work will be called out as plagiarized. Even doing all of that, then you can run the plagiarism check that Jenni has on its platform. And this does take a few minutes, so just kind of set it off and keep on working. But it will let you know which parts of it is plagiarized or may come out as plagiarized, or tell you if your work is plagiarism free. And last but not least, you need to make sure that you cite your sources. Paraphrasing isn't enough for you to claim that work as yours. You still have to recognize and write down and also include within your citation list that that is text that you have taken from somewhere else. You should never copy and paste either way, so text should always be paraphrased from the source material. It's at that point where you give credit to the original author, and this is so important. And even if your work doesn't get flagged up for plagiarism, citations and referencing is part of academic integrity, so it's really key and important that you are doing that in the correct format. So with Jenni.ai, you can reference and cite and look through a research library again really easily and really quickly. And this allows you to also kind of change the referencing style very quickly to suit the format that you are expected to write your references in. So always make sure that this is something that you're including. As I mentioned, you do need to make sure, even if you are paraphrasing, that you are citing and recognizing and giving credit to those that have actually originally done that piece of work, especially within academia. So make sure that you're kind of generating this library, which you can do really easily using Jenni, saving the papers that you've read in the past, and then you can add them in really easily, really quickly. And it not only adds it in as an in-text, but it also adds it as a reference within the end reference list. You can very quickly change the format as well to suit the style that you are meant to be writing in, Harvard, IP, etc. And then you can also generate a library of all your papers that it will use when it's writing text for you. As you can see, Paraphrasing is actually quite simple. It's just a matter of reading your source text, rewriting it and kind of blurting out your thoughts, and then editing it, proofreading it, changing a few words, maybe shortening it or lengthening it if you need to do that, and then of course citing it. By this point, you've gone through 4 or 5 edits and you're at the point where you can happily say that it is very different to the original material. And there you go, you paraphrased in an ethical way, but using AI that helps you just automate some of those processes a little bit better. If you want to try Jenni.ai, which by the way I highly recommend, then do check out the link that I'll leave in my description box down below, and the code Amina20 gives you an extra 20% off the annual membership, which is already discounted. I think it's such an amazing tool. It gives you so many capabilities and so many ways that you can use it as an academic, as a student, as a researcher. So definitely check it out and let me know if you like it. And if you like this video, then don't forget to give me a huge thumbs up and leave me a comment, let me know what you thought about it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.